feel the importance of building a strong rhythm and having that foundation and support for the young child. So when we talk about rhythm, we talk about the rhythm of the day, how the day flows. We have a daily rhythm, we have a weekly rhythm, we have a monthly rhythm, and a yearly rhythm. And to us, rhythm is sort of, as mentioned in the video, a little bit of a breathing in and out throughout the day. There's times when there's, big movements and big loud activities and romping and running outside and movement in our circle time. And then there is a quiet in breath where we're quietly painting together or sharing a warm snack together. And so we kind of have this in and out image of breath throughout the day. Um, so if you were to start a day in the nursery or kindergarten, you'd be welcomed in. This year we start, everybody is starting outside. So you're greeted and we start outside and we join together in the playground or in the big fields. And the children are able to freely play whatever they'd like. And some teachers will, in a typical year, in years past, we've just greeted each other in the morning and then gone right inside and started our day in the nursery. This year, we're staying in, certainly for most of the year so far, we've spent quite a bit of time outside and utilizing our outdoor classrooms and tents as much as possible in this unique year. After we're greeted and the children have time to play and move about and get settled, we might come together either inside or outside for our morning circle. And that's a really important and special part of the day because not only is it fun because we learn songs and finger plays and different movements and games, but it's a time where we really come together and form our group. And during all those games and songs and stories and finger plays, we can be observing the children's movements and interactions, and it's just a really fun and special time. It also helps us to observe and learn about how each child is developing. Then we might move on to, if we're inside, certainly when we come in, we do our washing, and that's, and undressing out of all of our gear, all of those little things that seem like just steps to the next thing. Those transitions are really important parts of our day, and we build in extra time so that the children aren't rushed and it's not just one thing that's going from one activity to the next. That's part of what they're there for, is to learn how to be with each other in the hallway and learn how to do our buttons and get our boots on and off and mittens and all those things. So we build in extra time for those things, and we use songs and gestures to help with those processes for the children. So it is fun and it's not a daunting thing for them. So then we might come, and I'm kind of giving an example of my class, but also some of the other classes too. Then they might have another opportunity for free play or a table activity. That could be anything from chopping the vegetables together to make our soup for the day. It could be kneading our bread dough, our fresh dough that we make to make our bread. It could be watercolor painting. It could be drawing or beeswax molding, whatever the activity is for that day. A lot of it is a lot of love and attention and prep goes into our food. We love our food, and food and nutrition is really important to what we do as well. So then we will usually, and the children all the while are playing, helping to be part of everything, like setting the table or watering the flowers or folding the laundry, some of the practical things that we do around our classrooms as well. Then we will join together and have our snack, which, like I said, is a big communal part of our morning. And when we have our snack or join together, anything like that, we will often light a candle and say a blessing, and have our table beautifully set. And it's a way to come together, but it's also brings in one of those R's I mentioned, which is reverence. And we really just want to show the children that there is a lot of good and beauty around us, and to take time to do things intentionally and with purpose. And you will often see, when we're saying a blessing or something, it's to give thanks for the food that we have, or the things that we've grown or created together. We bring a lot of natural materials inside, so there might be things that the children have collected or flowers brought from home that are also part of the table and part of that time that we're coming together and giving thanks. The blessings that we give and say together are, non-secular things, but more of just appreciation, especially to the natural world and to each other. So snack is a joyful, chatty time. Sometimes we have stories, or sometimes it's just quiet and the children are eating. In a typical year, there's a lot of family style food sharing that the children are doing. So they're helping to serve each other and pass things around, and just, engage with each other, pouring by themselves or passing dishes. This year it is quite different. So we're just handling that as teachers, but we are still able to have our lovely, lovely snacks together. So after snack, then it might be time for, in our case, in our class, it's time where we might come together for a story. So we'll sit together and tell a story. In Waldorf education, oral storytelling is very important and preferred, and the tradition of oral storytelling is how we go about sharing stories in a very intentional way. And for the very young children, we'll use puppets, beautiful handmade, very simple puppets, to help a child begin picturing what they're seeing in the story without really specific, a lot of detail, but it helps them to see the story and create those pictures. And then often we're gearing up, toileting or whatever we need to do. And then we're gearing up and going back outside for the rest of the morning. So it's a pretty full morning that goes quite quickly. And when we are outside, we have our play spaces, but we have access to wonderful woods and trails and little nooks and spaces, and it's really a lot of fun. So at noon, some children will go home and some will stay for rest and, afternoon play, and that's different for each family. But that gives you kind of like a small picture of the day. Allison, am I good on time? If I'm okay. So just to backtrack a little, so that would be the day. And so within that day, some of the things you saw were, sharing meals, activities, a lot of outdoor play. I mentioned a bit about reverence, but that structure of the day, all of those things that happen and when they happen are done very intentionally, and that helps build security in young children to know what's coming next. So their Tuesday and their Wednesday and their Thursday are always going to look the same as far as the timing of things. What happens next? When we're using when we're washing our hands, when we're having snack, what we do after snack. All of those things are built into their day and very reassuring to them. And they don't have to ask a ton of questions. What are we doing next? What's coming next? It's always the same for the most part. So that rhythm is important, and it carries over into the week. So while they might have their daily rhythm, then in a weekly rhythm, that might be, well, yes, while snack is the same every day, at the same time, we eat something different every day. So every child in our school knows that Thursday is bread day, and they can smell the bread cooking, and they know that that's on Thursday, without having to be told it's Thursday, such and such date. They know that after rice day comes bread day. And on bread day, we always paint or whatever it is in that child's particular class or their teacher has, set up for their rhythm. But they always know what's coming next. And that is so, so important to the young child. So we really, really strive to have that strong rhythm. And it's amazing to see this time of year is really when it's like, I mean, we've been coming together for many, many months, but it becomes so strong. And it's funny, just I think on Tuesday we had a delayed opening. So that's a little chunk of our morning that gets cut out when we have a delayed opening. And those children, I mean, they rolled with it. They were fine, but they were like, we always cut vegetables today for soup. And, we didn't do it that day because we had a shorter morning. So we had a different snack. And they were like, we always cut, have our soup on this day. And we said, yeah, we do. Isn't it funny, that we have a snowy day and it's different? And they were fine and rolled with it. But because they have that steady rhythm, there was nothing to worry about. It was just like, okay, this is what comes next. And it was just interesting. So that would be an example of something that's in our bigger rhythm of the week. And then we have the rhythms of the month or the rhythms of the year, and we really use the seasons to help us go about what we do and have a full appreciation, and again, that reverence for the natural world and what's happening with our families throughout the seasons and holidays that they celebrate. And we try to bring all of that in and use the seasons to help guide us through the year. And they really do, not only do we see the changes in nature outside when we're outside every day, but the children, we bring, as I mentioned before, we bring nature inside. So if you've had the opportunity to visit a Waldorf early childhood classroom or ours at all, one thing that you probably see is that, or even just in that video, is that the environment and the beauty of the space is really important. So we bring a lot of these beautiful natural items in from the outside and create these lovely spaces, and the children are free to bring in those items and help, decorate the room and the space, and it's just really nice. So that might be a little example of our bigger rhythm. And within the seasons, we have a strong festival life, which looks a little different this year, like so many other things. But there are bigger festivals that we really try to honor and have, and are always evolving based on, the families that we have and the seasons. So, and a lot of those things involve the community too. And we really try to have those festivals bring people in to help, volunteer, and also get to know each other. Allison, what am I missing? I know I get on a tangent.
No, I think you covered most everything. I did want to mention for those people who don't know that we offer 3 mornings, 4 mornings, or 5 mornings for the nursery. And you can do afternoons if you like, so the time is from 8:15 to 8:30 drop off, and then 12 noon is the morning. And then if you need it or want it, there's afternoons from 12 to 3. And you can add those on what, Jen, is that right? You can add it on, is it all those days that you have to do it? Add on the afternoon, or can you just do one or two?
No, I believe that part you can, as long as space is
It's
available.
available, right? Yep.
Planned, but if there's space available.
And then our kindergarten is 4 mornings or 5 mornings, and then afternoons if you need it. So that's the minimum. So yeah, and I think you covered a little bit of the festival life, which will look probably different next year than it does this year. We had a hard time with it. We did it, but it wasn't the same. It didn't really include a lot of the community,
Yeah.
which is pretty special about them, but we weren't able to do that this year.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I wanted to open it up to questions. Does everyone has a question about what Jen talked about?
Please.
Sorry, Kelly, you came. I have the recording though. I'll send it to you. I recorded it.
Thank you. I actually had it on my calendar for yesterday. So, and then we're actually in a hotel tonight. So
Oh,
hopped in late. So sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm happy to send you the video. Any questions, anybody? You must have been pretty thorough, Jen.
I'm just realizing one thing that I probably wasn't really clear on as I was bouncing around was the third R being repetition. And so within those kind of parts of the day I was talking about, repetition would come in when we're doing things like telling stories and songs and finger plays and things like that. We will do them over and over and over. So just like the predictable rhythms of their day, not only are they knowing what's next with these songs and stories, but they're hearing them over and over as so they can really truly learn them and they really get ingrained in them, and it helps them later on when they're building, as part of early literacy and things like that. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Jen, maybe we should mention quickly about what's the difference between the nursery program and the kindergarten, some of the distinguishing differences between them.
Sure. So while there's a lot of that same stuff with the rhythm and those basic parts of the day, in the nursery, there's a lot more, because we have children who are young as 2.5 sometimes, there's a lot more bodily care and time for that. And, we're learning toileting and how to use things in a much different way than the kindergarten children are a little bit more capable of those skills. So we're doing a lot of body care and skills too. In the kindergarten, things start to be more incorporated, like handwork, where it's just introduced in the nursery, where we're doing little bits of watercolor painting and crayon drawing and some work with beeswax. In kindergarten, they're starting to maybe sew a little bit or do some finger knitting, things that they see modeled all the time by us as adults, and they're incorporating a little bit more of that. They also have the opportunity in kindergarten, they might stay out or go out to further places on the campus because they have a little bit more stamina. And some of the stories and games that they will have are just building upon the things that we do in nursery, but they are a little bit more complex. So a lot of the same things, but just incorporating more complex topics or stories, or things like some of the actual materials in the classroom just evolve too, with children being older and not having things in their mouth the same, but a lot of the same natural materials they have as well.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that oh, wait a minute, I just lost it. The kindergarten, I totally forgot. Keep going, Jen. I'll think of it.
Our older kindergartners who are, going into first grade are rising first graders who are often our second year kindergartners. They do quite a bit more handwork as they approach the grades. So they have a couple big projects. One where they work on sewing and putting together a baby doll of their own in their blanket, and sewing a blanket and the clothes and everything for the baby doll. And that kind of becomes this image and symbol of where they're coming from as a young child, in early childhood. And then they also rasp and sand a wooden sword at the end of the school year. And they work so hard on that, and that for months. And that is a symbol of them going forward and sort of moving on from early childhood when they hit that 7-year age and are ready to go on to first grade. So they have a lot more complex, those are a couple, more complex projects that they have in kindergarten. But again, a lot of that foundational rhythm and sort of these basic practical activities and certain parts of the day, circle, story, things like that are just carry on, but are more complex in kindergarten.
So I remembered what I wanted to say. You'll probably notice that the early childhood is play-based. So we're not formally teaching numbers or letters or doing math sheets or anything like that. So that until they get into first grade, and that's a part of Waldorf, is they start to teach them for how to read and write when they get into first grade. So that's a little more unique, I think. So I wanted to point that out.
And I would say the reason, well, it's a much bigger thing than just our little Zoom call, but one of the things just to touch on is, we're very encouraging of books and stories and things like that at home, but we just want to really give this kind of gift of preserving early childhood and letting children be able to have this play-based time where they're really able to hone in on developing their imagination and their physical bodies. And then when they are ready for first grade, all those other things have been, it's not that there is no math or literacy. Those things just come in different ways in oral storytelling, things like that. And then by the time they are ready for first grade, those things come so much more natural to them because they really are ready developmentally to take them in that different way.
So anything come up for anybody? Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of what you eat during the day, like what types of foods for snacks and noontime meal?
Do you want to do that, Jen?
Sorry. So yeah, I should clarify too, if your child comes for the morning, we do provide a pretty hearty snack that we prepare together. And then if they are staying through the lunch program, lunch comes from home. So you would bring a packed lunch and water bottle from home. But our mid-morning snack, I can give you ours for the week. On Mondays, we have apples every day, fresh, cut apples or seasonal fruit. And then on Mondays, we have rice, just brown rice. And the children have tamari and cheese on it if they like that. On Tuesdays is soup day. And that is all the families, all the children are asked to bring a vegetable from home, whatever you have in your fridge, a carrot, an extra potato, a hunk of cabbage, whatever it is. And the children bring that in and we make stone soup together and serve that with cheese and rice crackers as well. On Wednesdays, we have nibbles right now, that which is like carrots and hummus and apples and crackers. Sometimes we have oatmeal. Each class varies a little bit, but basically we have a lot of similar snacks. And then on Thursdays is bread day. So we bake our own bread together and children make their own rolls. And But it can vary. Sometimes some years I've had oatmeal on certain days. Some days we've had millet. They kind of vary, but we try to have mostly a warm, hearty snack, and some fruit. And then we serve warm herbal tea and water with everything.
And we also accommodate if a child has like a gluten allergy or dairy allergy, we'll substitute out stuff for that child. So the teachers work with the parents on that if there's any issues. So no nuts in the early childhood either. So we're nut free.
I mean, we're interested in how much time is spent outside throughout the year. Just we have friends who have their kids in some of the like almost exclusively outdoor programs here, and so we're interested in that. So I'm curious, like how much time you think the kids should expect to spend outside. Our son is 2.5, almost 2.5.
Okay, so on a typical, sorry, can you hear me? So this year, we had, well, on a typical year, we spend a lot of time outside. But this year, I can tell you, our classes, all the early childhood classes, I'd say pretty close to up until winter break time, we were outside all morning till noon. So we ate our snacks outside, actually, and our lunch outside. So even the children who stayed often would have lunch outside, and then we'd go in for rest. So we would have sort of these transitions in and out to use the bathroom and things like that. But we really this year stayed out. After around winter break and coming back and to what we are now, and every class is pretty similar right now, although our rhythms are slightly different. I would say in my class, the children are out maybe till like 9:15, and then we'll come in and start toileting, maybe prepping that snack or whatever our table activity is. They'll have their snack, and then we're back out, after circle, story, whatever we might be doing, from 10:30 till noon-ish. So if right now, I would say, the children are really geared up to be outside quite a bit. And after rest, they go outside as well in the afternoon. And I see in the next, I know we're expecting snow tomorrow, but soon-ish, as the weather starts to change, at first opportunity, we'll really be starting to move back out as much as we can, and have our tents back and stuff like that. In a regular year, where we don't have quite as much concern about COVID and, being inside, and we are still out quite a bit. But we do, while we love the outdoors, we do value, again, those like in-breaths and quiet parts of the day too, and practical life and things that happen inside a house. Our classrooms really are set up to be similar to home, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in a home, and play and all of that stuff. So hope that answers a bit.
Great. Any other questions? No, it looks like we covered it. So great. Well, so if we don't have any more questions, then we can certainly wrap it up and give everybody back their evenings. And for anybody who hasn't had a tour yet, give me a call or send me an email, and I'd be happy to set that up for you. I'm giving tours on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in the mornings. If that doesn't work for you, I'm flexible, but the mornings are really the best time to get a real sense of the school. Everybody is there, and they're right in the midst of their activity. So it's really great to see it in the mornings for sure. We have vacation next week, so we'll be off for next Monday through Friday. So after that, I can certainly set up a time for everybody, for you to get a tour. So, and I want to thank everybody for coming. It was really nice to see everybody without masks, anybody that I had tours with. So And thank you. Thanks, Jen.
I have a quick question, Allison.
Oh,
Are
yeah,
you
sure.
are you on a different vacation schedule than main schools?
Good question. We alternate. So our February break coincides with Maine. And our
Oh.
April break is New Hampshire. Is that right? It's
It
something like
actually, well, now I'm questioning, Allison, do we change it year to year because we serve families from New Hampshire and Maine?
yeah, so we pick
Sometimes that is,
yeah,
so they
it
match up.
alternates basically. So it could be it's either we're coordinated with Maine or we're coordinated with New Hampshire. So we try to keep it fair. So good question though. So yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was great.
Oh, good. Okay, we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.